This week on Inside the GSC, we're talking with Mississippi College Libero Samarin Kipple, one of the top defenders in the Gulf South Conference, finishing last season in the top 5 in digs. But her story goes beyond the court. From anchoring the Choctaws backline to traveling to Canada for a missions trip, combining her love for faith and volleyball, Samarin is making an impact in more ways than one. All this and more coming up on Inside the GSC. Today on Inside the GSC, we're talking with junior libero Samarin Kipple, one of the most reliable defenders in the Gulf South Conference, playing her freshman year at Birmingham Southern College before transferring to Mississippi College, where she ranked 5th in the GSC with 448 digs in 2024. Samarin, welcome to the show. We appreciate you having on.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
So before we dive into your GSC career, let's rewind things back a little bit. Let's go back to when you were young and just, trying to figure out what you wanted to do. How did volleyball first become part of the picture, and what was introduced in that portion to how you got to play volleyball?
So volleyball's always been a big part of my family. So my grandpa actually coached high school volleyball. He's from Coleman, Alabama. And so he coached high school volleyball. He coached my mom in high school. And then from in fourth grade, I picked it up and just kept playing. So I had a good backing behind me and constant support. So it was pretty immediate. And I pretty much fell in love with it the first time I started playing.
What would you say are some of your earliest best memories playing in the sport? You mentioned you started in fourth grade. There has to have been a few memories that have popped up that they just have stuck with you even till now.
Yes, there's so many. It's always been about the team for me, and that's what drew me to volleyball initially. And so there's always been memories of playing travel and running around the conference centers with the team and all that kind of stuff. So definitely a lot of team memories come to mind and just like the connections I have built with people on the court.
For sure. Did you know right away that the libero defensive specialist position was going to be your bread and butter position, or were there other positions that you tried out, or how did that come into play?
Yes, so I started off in fourth grade as a setter, and then um, freshman year of high school and up until that point, I was an outside hitter. And so sophomore year of high school was my first year transitioning to the libero position. And so from there, I knew that was for sure something I love. I love defense. I love defending. I love stopping the points from happening. So yes, definitely libero has been my favorite so far that I've played. But it was definitely more of a height thing. I stopped growing at about 5'6", so they definitely moved me to the libero position at that point.
Kind of like the all-around talent. It's like, just put me anywhere, coach.
It's
I'm
just,
good.
yeah. Yes.
That's awesome. Growing up, though, like as you're filling
Mhm.
out these different positions, who were some of the early mentors for you? Coaches, teammates? You mentioned your grandpa was a coach and that you've learned under him, but who were some of the more prolific figures during your time growing up with volleyball, and how they've been able to mentor you up to this point?
Yes, I would for sure say all of the coaches that I've had, both high school and travel volleyball, have been big mentors for me in that realm. And also some of the older girls that I've played with, I continue to keep close connections with girls that I've played at with club, and they definitely have left a big impact on me and the player that I am today, and what it looks like to be a good teammate, not just good skill wise, but good on and off the court.
Absolutely. And it does carry with you, as you go through. And that's the key thing, is just making sure that you keep those memories in line, and just it develops who you are as a player.
Exactly, exactly. We always talk about how when we're playing, there's a little girl that once really would have wanted to be in the position that we're at right now. And so that's kind of something that I look at a lot before games because it's always surreal that I'm in this moment playing. And so it's always fun to kind of look back at the old Sam and what she would have wanted and how excited she would have been to see me in the position that I am right now.
So with your name though, because Samarin is
Hmm.
such a unique name, do you
Yes.
prefer people calling you Sam, or does like Samarin work for you, or like how do you go about that when you're introducing yourself to others?
Yes, I normally go by Samarin. It's typically, though, with sports, it's easy to say Sam on the court. It's easier just in general in the sports kind of atmosphere. And so, honestly, either way works best for me. But normally, I don't shy away from going with my full name in different situations.
Now we get towards the collegiate realm, your collegiate days. You get an offer from Birmingham Southern, you play, you make an immediate impact, but then Birmingham Southern closes. After 1 year, you're starting to figure out what's going to happen, what am I going to do, where do I go next? So, talk to us a little bit just that journey and what was going through your mind when you found out that Birmingham Southern was going to cease to exist and what that meant in terms of where to find the next school.
Yes, so Birmingham Southern during my recruiting process was definitely a school that I immediately loved. From the girls on the team, the community there, the academics, everything about it was something that I knew I wanted in a college. And so with the news of it closing, it definitely was sad. It definitely was a little bit of a heartbreak, but I was also excited to see and have a new opportunity, if that makes sense. And so May of that spring, or no, March of that spring on spring break, we found out that the school is closing. And so we pretty much had 2 months left of the school year to quickly turn it around and find a place to go next. And so I got connected with Mississippi College, and as soon as I stepped on campus, it had a similar atmosphere of the strong community and culture that I wanted, both on the team and off the team, along with great athletics, great academics. And so it was kind of something that was very similar to the school I have, but also so different in a way that I think has allowed me to have more experience and be better on and off the court.
How did you first get connected with Mississippi College? Was the coach calling you? Were you looking at other options? Or just take us a little bit more of just how you first heard of MC.
Yes. So our old athletic director at Birmingham Southern, Kendall Waters, she was a huge mentor for me and was really big in helping us find a place to go. And so she made connections, and the coach here randomly texted me out of the blue and wanted to set up a phone call. And so at that point, it was hard because you're trying to navigate this process. You still have classes, you still want to enjoy the last moments you have with your friends at Birmingham Southern. And so it was so good to get that text from her and know that there is a place out there for me. That's a place that I'll thrive in and will be a place that I'll really enjoy. So that was kind of cool just to have that connection from such a great mentor that our athletic director was at my old school and with the connection of the coach here.
Absolutely. And that's, connections is key. The
Mhm.
coined adage is it's about who you know that can land you that next opportunity. From a business standpoint, it's what you know. But in this case, connections are absolutely key. And you don't know who's around with the 6 degree separation of connections out there.
Exactly, exactly. I got very lucky to have such great people in my circle to be able to make those connections.
Reflecting on that transition, though, from BSC to MC, how did it impact your development just as an athlete and as a person, and just some of the lessons that you've learned through that process?
Yes, for sure. It was definitely a process of becoming more appreciative for being able to come on this court and play and be able to still have a team to play volleyball on. Because in March is kind of when we got that information, it was hard to know if I was going to continue to play volleyball, if I was going to be a student and stay in Birmingham. It was a difficult decision to make. And so, um, an experience and a memory that I have from this fall, our very first game. I remember just being so thankful that I was able to have the opportunity to be on such a great team and to have found such a great school, even though it was the first month of being there. I already loved it so much. And so that was kind of cool to just be able to be appreciative of volleyball and know that every time I step on the court, this is going to be a moment that I will remember forever. So.
Absolutely. And speaking of volleyball and your time at MC, as we sort of now fast forward to fall of 2024, Last season, you logged 448 digs. It was, per set, that's about 4.3 digs a game, if I did my math correctly on that one. Fifth in the Gulf South Conference. What's your approach to maintaining that level of consistency in the back row and just being that anchor whenever y'all are on the court?
Yes, for sure. It all comes down to communication in the team. I can't do what I do without communicating with the front row, with the block. I can't do what I do without communicating with the people in the back row about the seams, about our hitters. So, truly, everything that came of last season was because of the progress we made as a team and our practices in and out and our focus on communication. That was pretty big that we focused on last year and are definitely emphasizing it this year, which is so exciting. And so it definitely comes from a team connection that's important for my role and for important to have success in my role as well.
Absolutely. And speaking of your role as well, you've had some great players that you played with, some players that, an MC last year that you've looked up to, but you're a junior now. So more expectations from a leadership standpoint. How do you see your role expanding? You're talking about as a Libero, you're managing things as a field general that's on that court. But now this year as a junior, more expectations from the coach. They want to see that leader, Samarin, that's going to be able to communicate and step up. So how do you see that role expanding for you this season?
Yes, for sure. So I think because I come from different levels of experience from coming from and transferring from Birmingham Southern to having that first year last year, I definitely believe I can use that experience to help with the leadership role on this team. I've played with such great players both at Birmingham Southern and last year. And so it's really awesome to be able to take different parts of their leadership styles and kind of craft my own. And so I definitely see myself being a support system for this team on and off the court. I definitely think our connection and communication and how we communicate to get the balls up is going to be huge. And so I think with my leadership style, I want to focus on really communicating and also hustling after those balls and make sure that's a standard that we keep each practice in every game.
Absolutely. And to your point, it's key. We've talked a little bit already about Samarin as the volleyball player, Samarin growing up, but let's dive a little deeper into Samarin as a person. And, very phenomenal background, valedictorian in high school, very accomplished so far. You're working towards a degree in chemistry, and you also have a minor in Spanish. So, what drew you to those fields of study and just kind of what you wanted to do from a career passion standpoint?
Yeah, so both of my parents are in the medical field. My dad's a physical therapist, and my mom is a nurse by background. And so I've always grown up in kind of a medical setting. And so I've always known that's something I've wanted to go into. And so post grad, my goal is to attend medical school and become a physician of some sort. I currently have a work study with athletic training. And so orthopedics has always been something I've been extremely interested in. And so, yeah, that's the medical field is a goal for me right now that I'm working both on and off the court to kind of get more experience that will help me thrive in that role in the future.
Samarin, when you're mentioning being an athletic trainer as well, just take us through what a typical day is like. Like, I've had a situation before where, growing up in my career, I had a student worker as well working in athletic communications, but she also was a member of the track and field team. So, in some cases, it's like you want to have them cover while they're competing. But in your case, how does that work for you? Do you like, if there's a player down, you stop everything and you just see what's going on? Or are there other sports that MC assigns to you? But just take us through a typical day of what that would look like for you, just going into the training room and what you have to work on.
Exactly. So typically in the mornings, I help in the athletic training room, whether that's helping players with ice after practice, before practices, help wrap, help with stretches, all that sort of things. And so I mainly just help in that room. And then also in the spring, in the off season, I helped the sidelines of basketball games. I was at some track events, some tennis events, and so that's always awesome. And so I really have enjoyed getting to know other athletes on a personal level with that position in the athletic training room, which has been just an experience that I'm so thankful for. Just to see also and be appreciative of the people behind the scenes in sports because I've learned that they work really hard. And so it's been kind of awesome to be able to build those connections.
Absolutely, and kind of delving a little bit more on the connections and just working with others and just mentors and colleagues with that. As a student athlete, you're told certain methods, certain ways to recover, but does it give you a different perspective on the training, recovery, and performance process when you're not just going through that as a student athlete, but also being the athletic trainer as well, and the knowledge that's being given to you in that role?
Yes, for sure. It's very easy as an athlete to kind of be behind on how we take care of our bodies post practice, post games. It's definitely easy when school and assignments get loaded on, practices, film, all that stuff. It's definitely hard to keep up with stretching and icing and making sure you're resting and recovering well. Because I've definitely learned from athletic training that that is one of the most important parts of volleyball. We can't, or sports in general. We can't perform well if we're not taking care of ourselves off the court. And so I definitely think for sure this season and in the spring when I started the athletic training work study, it definitely has helped me have a better mindset going in and know that how important it is to take care of myself in order to help our team be successful.
You mentioned earlier, postgraduate career goals is to be a physician. Any specific area within that, like a physical trainer or working more in the medical profession, or kind of describe a little bit more what you might look for specifically within the physician realm?
For sure. I definitely think that with a background in athletics and being able to do this athletic training work, I've been able to find a passion in orthopedics. So in the future, potentially that could be of interest. And then I also have shadowed some this summer and have fallen in love with pediatrics a little bit too. So potentially being a pediatrician in the future also sounds pretty interesting, but I'm excited to get my foot more in the door as I'm getting more developed in college. And so I'm excited to see more specialties and what else would catch my eye. But definitely for sure, those two fields are something that I feel like I could thrive in.
I can only imagine the hours that it goes through to learn, to understand the physician aspect of it, the knowledge that goes through it. I mean, you even look at the medical profession, how many hours are invested into studying and know what to look for in recovery. In that role, though, do you see yourself also staying connected to volleyball after college? I mean, you've had some quite a number of accomplishments between putting camps together and just being involved with it from a coaching standpoint. So, through that, is there potential opportunities that you would like to pursue within the whole coaching and staying involved with the game while you're going through the profession of the whole physical training and just working in that sports physician environment?
For sure. I definitely believe that volleyball will be in my life forever. And so in the summers, I've enjoyed coaching middle school camps and being a part of it from a coaching standpoint. And also in North Carolina, grass and beach volleyball are pretty big. And so I have a really good community and support system. We get together about 3 or 4 nights a week and we play in tournaments on the weekends. And um, we will just text somebody up and say, hey, you want to play in this tournament this weekend? And then we'll bring a tent and we'll go and play. And so I definitely think that volleyball for sure is going to be something that I keep up with and try to keep my foot in the door for a long time.
Absolutely. And speaking of camps and speaking of just some of the stuff that you've done, let's go back to this past spring break. Most college kids, they want to go out, they want to party, or they go to the beach line and they have a good old time. They want to get away from it for school. But you, Samarin, you not only are continuing to find ways to explore your passions, but spring break, you get a special opportunity. You go up to Canada for spring break and you work with your church. You partner with another church to just work with the students up there. I believe that Pine Lake Church, and you do sports ministry stuff, camps and stuff. Just talk about more of that experience and just how excited you were and just the impact that's made for you.
Yes, for sure. I will forever be grateful for Mississippi College and the impact it has had on my faith, and especially Pine Lake Church. That's one that I have found a large community in. And so for spring break, I got the opportunity to go to Canada, and the mission of that opportunity was to help with a sports volleyball camp. And so we ran a middle school volleyball camp. And we also were able to go and venture out to different church sites and learn more about the process of building a church. And so it was just such an amazing opportunity. I had two other girls or three other girls on the volleyball team join me. And so that was fun. I was able to get closer with them on that trip and kind of get deeper and connect more in the religious aspect. And so I will forever be grateful for that trip. It definitely was one that has a big impact on who I am as a person.
Absolutely. And just to go off of that, from the experience though, how has that differed from other camps that you've normally done?
For sure. It definitely is honestly not too different from camps I normally run. I am a person that likes to keep faith at the forefront of who I am. And so I also love being supportive and keep that a main mission of volleyball camps. And when I lead and coach, I want to make sure each athlete feels supported and knows that, this is a sport. It's going to be fun. We're going to learn, we're going to grow, but also like it's enjoyable and it doesn't define who you are as a person. And so it honestly was kind of cool to have the background in volleyball and running camps before this mission trip and be able to just take that and have a team behind me do it for spring break.
What does giving back like this mean to you and the role that you play within that community that you're talking about, that supportive community that you're in within that area?
Yes, Mississippi College is one that there are so many opportunities for community service and for giving back. It's really easy to get your foot in the door, and that's something they push you to do and want you to do, especially as a student athlete. And I think also, too, from a team standpoint, that's something that is in our culture as a team. And so each girl on the team is involved in some sort of way, giving back in some sort of way, involved in church. A lot of us attend Vine Lake together, so that's fun. And so I think that definitely is huge in our connection on and off the court because we both are all, or we all are invested in each other, not just as players, but as people. And we're all interested in getting to know each other and also give back to the community and to the campus.
Absolutely, very impactful story with that, and just the community base and the spiritual aspect too. I mean, especially with what you're mentioning at MC, it's not the physical and the mental aspect, but you guys want to improve and you guys want to see yourselves just coming together, and that's something you can't put a price tag on.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, Samarin, again, thank you for your time. But before we go, we got some GSC rapid fire questions for you that we want to just spin off. So we'll get right into it with that. First
Okay.
one we have is your best GSC memory you've had so far.
Favorite GSC memory definitely was the conference tournament. The whole team, we decided to get little Sharpies and write encouraging words on each other's arms. And so when we played in that match, we were able to reference those and we had fun doing it and we just hyped each other up. And so that was one of my favorite memories of the GSC tournament and of GSC.
That's very beautiful. Uh, if you could describe the conference, the GSC experience in one or two sentences, how would you put it together?
I would definitely say challenging. There's a lot of competition in the GSC, but that's something that I love about it. Every match going in, we know that we're going to have to put in the work as a team to push ahead. And so challenging is definitely a word I would use to describe the GSC conference as a whole.
Absolutely. And there's so many places you can think of you just in your time when you guys are traveling. I'm not sure how many opportunities you guys get to go out and explore different places, especially in particular with restaurants. But in your time with traveling in season, what's your go-to favorite food spot or a restaurant that you can remember, or just something that's just a go-to that I gotta have?
Oh, this is difficult. Um, let's see. We eat a lot of good food on the road. One of my favorite, this was not a spot, but this was just a fun memory we had. When we played an away match, we had parents make food for us, and we kind of had a little cookout right before the game. And so that was so much fun to be able to just try different stuff because I'm from North Carolina and we have girls on the team from all over. And so I was able to try tons of really good food. And so that was probably one of my favorite. I know that's not a place, but that was definitely something that sticks out to me the most.
For sure. In your time so far in the Clinton, Jackson, Mississippi area, would there be a recommendation if somebody was to visit MC and they were looking to try a spot? What would be a spot that you would, one restaurant, you got to try it?
Hmm. This is also difficult because there's a lot of good ones. Um, let's see. We have a lot of Mexican food around. I definitely recommend getting into that. There's also a lot of good Greek places. We have a good amount close to campus and a little bit off that I really enjoy. So yeah, those are definitely two that I would 10 out of 10 recommend someone try if they come up to Clinton, Mississippi.
For sure. You got, even just mentioning food already, it's like now I'm starting to
Exactly.
get hungry. I'm like, oh,
Exactly.
you can't turn
No
down food.
trouble.
What they
Exactly.
say? You have a seafood diet. When you see food, you eat it. You know, so it's
Exactly. I go by that motto.
yeah, absolutely. And finally, Samarin, if you could swap places with any MC coach, which one would you go for?
Ooh, swap places. That's hard. I love being outside, so I would swap places with an outside sport. That's just fun to be able to just enjoy being outside. It also would be fun to be the athletic director if I were to swap places with someone on staff. That'd be cool because I could experience all of them, so and enjoy each sport as a whole. So that's kind of those would be the two that I would swap places with.
Absolutely, that would be fun. And if your MC's at, if you're Kenny listening to this,
Yes,
just know someone admires where you're at and what you're doing.
exactly, definitely for sure.
Well, Samarin, thank you again for having an opportunity to get to know you, meet you a little bit more, and just taking the time out of your schedule to do this. We really appreciate you coming on to the show, and we're looking forward to seeing the great things you continue to do. Just from the Choctaws, we'll be looking out for you this volleyball season, and best of luck to you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Inside the GSC. Don't forget to hit like, share, or subscribe wherever content can be found so you won't miss highlights, stories, and more. So long for now, and we'll see you back here next time on Inside the GSC.